To be perfectly honest, I really hate this expression nation branding. I know I'm supposed to be the guy that invented it, but I wish I hadn't. I wish I could recall it like a defective product and tell people to stop using it. Because branding suggests that you can deliberately manipulate the image of your country. And I wish it were possible. It would make everything so easy, but it's not possible. That technique is called propaganda, and it works within closed societies, but it doesn't work internationally. Countries are not judged by what they say about themselves. They're judged by how they behave. And therefore, nation brand is a policy issue. It's not a messaging issue. One of the things that I've often said about the images of countries is that they are the impossible necessity. So in one sense, it's impossible. Right? It is impossible for a country to deliberately change its international image. On the other hand, it's a necessity because in our modern globalized world, countries desperately need good, powerful, positive images. If a country has a good image, everything is easy and everything is cheap. If it has a weak or a negative image, everything is expensive and everything is difficult. So what do you do? How can you ensure that your country has the best possible chance of competing in a very competitive world? Well, this is the question that I've been studying for many, many years, nearly 30 years now. And what the research seems to show is that you can't tell people to admire your country more. Communications just don't seem to do it. And you could spend 10%, 20%, 70% of your gross domestic product buying media and telling the world, we're wonderful, we're fantastic, Slovakia is the best country on earth. And it doesn't work. It makes no difference. Lots of countries have tried this, and it never does make any difference. So what does make a difference? Well, what the research says is the only thing that makes a difference is your contribution to the world outside your own borders. So if I live in England, which I do, the only thing I want to know about Slovakia is, does Slovakia contribute positively to the world that I live in and my children live in, and one day my grandchildren, I hope, will live in? That's all I want to know. I'm actually not very interested in what happens inside other countries. Of course, I don't mean me personally. Me personally, I'm very interested. But the majority of people are not interested in how good life is in another country, how productive other countries' economies are, how happy the people are, how beautiful the landscape is. All they want to know is, do I feel glad that this country exists? So I would suggest that's the question Slovakia has to ask itself. Why would people around the world feel glad that Slovakia exists? I've published an annual study called the Good Country Index, which has been coming out every year now since 2014. And that's not a measurement of perceptions, it's a measurement of reality. What the Good Country Index tries to do is to estimate what each country on Earth contributes to the world outside its own borders, to humanity and the planet. So across about 7 different sectors, using 35 databases, mainly from the United Nations family and a few other international organizations, we do a balance sheet for each country. How much have you given to the world and how much have you taken away? So that people can look at this and they can have more informed discussions, not about how well countries are doing, but how much they're doing. Call me old-fashioned, but I think if you're spending public money on anything at all, it needs to be transparent, measurable, and accountable. So that means if what you're trying to do is to raise the profile of your country or improve its image internationally, you have to know whether you're succeeding or not, particularly as a government, as I say, spending taxpayers' money. And so there are various ways of measuring the images of countries. The way that I do it is with a survey called the Anholt Ipsos Nation Brands Index, which I've been running in various forms since 2005. And it's very, very simple. It's just a large international opinion poll. And we ask about 60,000 people around the world every year their prejudices, their views, their perceptions of 60 different countries. And we compile all of that together and we make some rankings, which are kind of fun, so you can see where you rank compared to other countries. But the real interest is in the detail. When you start looking at very specific groups of people, 39 to 45-year-old male Chinese businessmen living in rural areas. What do they think about the culture in Slovakia? And so forth. And that kind of measurement is essential because at that level you can really see if what you're doing is making a difference or not.